When we think about harmful behaviours, I want to start with exploring power in relationships. Would you agree with me that all relationships have a balance of power in them? That power balance might be equal, it might be unequal. It's determined by people's size in comparison with one another, their experience, their knowledge, but also their position. If I'm a mum and a dad, I hope I've got more power and influence than the child does. I need to. If I've got more power than somebody else in that relationship, whether it be a personal relationship or a church relationship, a country relationship, my job is to empower others. Power is not the problem. In fact, God is power. Jesus said to his mates, don't go and try the Christian, witness gig until I clothe you with what? Power from on high. I love that Paul says, it is the same power that rose Christ from the dead. So God's put his power in you to do what? Do good. To live a good life. To love. To care. To give special care to the vulnerable. Power is a good thing. Harm happens when power is misused. That's where we start with this. Because when boundaries are not crossed appropriately, when boundaries are violated, that's when harm occurs. All times when it's not the right time, it's not the right place, it's not the right circumstances, and it's not right for me to cross into your life. So if I ring you at 4 a.m. in the morning or 2 a.m., you're going to be pretty cranky at me for the whole day the next day, because unless someone's died, then it would be the right time. And it was your dad, and I had to ring you. Thank you for ringing me. See how I need to be careful, if I've got a power as a leader, that I make sure I navigate this relationship appropriately. Boundary violations cause harm. It's on a continuum. I might be a boundary respecter. I might respect you and others. I can still cause you offence. I can still cause you harm. But what a non-offender or a boundary respecter does, you know what they do? They realise their offence. And they say, I'm so sorry that the way I spoke to you was harsh. Full responsibility for their own boundary violation. There's another type of boundary violation that happens when people wander across boundaries. For the wanderer, are they intending to cause harm? Do they mean to hurt anyone? No. Do they cause harm? Yes. So it's not about what the intention was. It's actually the fact they've caused harm. Now, if you're leading and you wander across persons' boundaries and you violate them, does it need to be sanctioned? Yes. We need to say that wasn't okay the way you behaved. We need to have the language to say you wandered across that person's boundaries and it hurt them. And if you're doing it constantly, maybe we need to say you can't be in this role anymore. There are, of course, down the pointy end those who intend to do harm, and the predator who exactly knows where boundaries are, and they head for them to break down the boundaries and destroy lives. Abuse then, I would like to say, is a serious boundary violation that leads to significant harm. This is actually about the robbing of personality, the robbing of personhood. Abuse is where a person robs from one person because they don't see that person as equal to them. So abuse is actually about where a robbery of self-worth, self-esteem, self-expression of self. It's the robbing of personhood. A really good Bible story, I think, in terms of boundary violations of abuse is the David, Bathsheba and Uriah story. Here is the king. Now, the king had a role. The king was to keep the covenant. He wasn't a king like other kings. He was under the law of the Lord. Keep the 10 Commandments. Apply them. When he violates Bathsheba's boundaries, violates Uriah's life, God comes in the form of a prophet, Nathan. Which of the big 10, which of the 10 Commandments, which covenant violation, covenant being the 10 Commandments, does the prophet Nathan charge David with? Is it adultery? Is it murder? Think of the story. There was a man and he had a lamb. He was stealing. Thou shalt not. Wow. So God could have said, thou shalt not commit murder to Uriah. He could have said, thou shalt not commit adultery. He could have said, thou shalt not covet your neighbour's donkey, wife or whatever. He didn't. What did God say? Thou shalt not steal. It's a betrayal of the position of trust, and it's a robbery. When that pastor decides to sexualise a relationship with a congregation member, they're robbing from that person and they're robbing from the congregation. Abuse is a serious issue.